The main reason that I'm complaining is unironically the lack of creativity. I mean, they're making a Wolverine game now, and it's literally like Batman Arkham Asylum, where Wolverine gets to craft smoke bombs and med kits. And I don't care, like, if part of the story, maybe, like, he loses his powers or some shit. Like that's not the thing. Why would I play as Wolverine that doesn't have his powers? Like, what is the purpose of that, right? And the reason that they would do it is because they're looking at video games like Batman Arkham Asylum. They say that that game sold, so let's make another one like that. And when you look at most video games, actually, they do play like a version of Assassin's Creed, where you have an open world, you run around the map, and you're going from point A to point B, starting missions. Maybe you have like some collectibles, and of course there's crafting, and you have like a level up system, and there is no more creativity. And here you get to see like the same stuff, like the body type thing. Like they completely erased women from video games. It's just body type now. Like I bet if you ask them the definition of a woman, they can't articulate it. And the reason that they do this is because they constantly outsource their stuff. Like they're outsourcing their story, and they have like these things which are called like proofreaders. Like it's so bizarre that you need to pay people money, and most of the time you pay them a lot of money just so that they guarantee that your story isn't offending people on Twitter. And my point is like, fuck the people on Twitter. They're not even your customers. Like, why do you care about the people on Twitter so much? Why do you worship them? Why do you care so much? And if you care so much about them, like they have such a niche preference, that they have such a niche mindset, such a niche worldview, that catering to them means that all of the games are going to start looking the same. And as I mentioned, it's not about the body type. Like that's just like a by the way. But it's like all of the things put together, like you are chaining yourself from creating stories. And I noticed this whenever they try to make a remake, whether it's GTA, whether it's Resident Evil, they start cutting stuff from the game because they're like, well, the niche fringe activists on Twitter would not like that, and heaven forbid we upset them. I was like, well, what do they have on you? Are they blackmailing you? I genuinely do not understand. You look at video games that are breaking the mold, like indie games like the Coffin of Andy and Lele, which the people on Twitter allegedly despise. And that video game made almost $2 million, and it probably cost around $10,000 to make. So when you're putting you notice that like the market is begging, like they're begging you to stop listening to the people on Twitter, but you can't. Like for some reason, I don't know. Like they imprison them. I mean, I kind of get why that is in a certain aspect, because again, like these proofreaders, they're very connected with the HR, so there aren't that many of them. Like, for instance, if you want to be a proofreader, right? Like I could do the job, Like, I know what social justice ideology is. I know what the woke ideology is. So if you were to give me, like, a video game, I could definitely write a story and make sure that nothing offends the people on Twitter. Like it's very easy to do. But they would never hire you, right? Because you don't have the connections, you don't have the nepotism, and probably you don't have the correct skin color either. But when it comes to the people that do this, there aren't that many. So this is why you get to see in the game, like for example, last year was the year of the vitiligo. So much to heels versus babyface's dismay, we have another company trolling him. I definitely think that they are doing it specifically to target this man. In this case, it's Remnant 2. And in Remnant 2, as you can see, they are avoiding the word woman like the plague. Like, they are absolutely terrified, and they are scared of using definitions that they probably can't even answer what they mean. They don't want to use the word woman. So instead, they are using body type. I love this. Like, I find it to be very interesting because on one hand, right, like they say, well, we don't know what a woman is, right? It's offensive. We have body types. Body types. But at the same time, they fear the ESRB. So the ESRB doesn't allow you to show tits in a game, right? But these people do not believe in the titty. They have transcended the titty. They believe in body types. And you'll often notice that body type A has its chest covered up for some reason, while body type B has the pecs in full display. And I find that to be very interesting. Like if they genuinely believe that there is no more difference between a man and a woman and it's just body types, Why don't they either cover them both or leave them naked? And if the ESRB complains, then sue the ESRB. And say, ESRB, you are bigoted. You are some fascist far-right group that is, here to stop progress. You are against inclusivity. Why don't they do that? But the thing that you should actually discuss, and I know, I'm being like Hills versus Babyface now. Like, you're not allowed to even mention this thing. It's just normal. It's like complaining about the fact that there's rain outside. I know. In 2016, I remember it was Games Done Quick. They had the two chuckleheads on Twitch. And they had like a little, how should I put it? Like a little badge with their pronouns in front. And they were very busy banning people from the chat. I mean, it was a very difficult job to ban hundreds of people, because at the time, Games Done Quick was actually popular. And they had to ban like hundreds of people per hour because everyone was making fun of them. Now the same people making fun of them are making fun of Hill versus Babyface for doing the exact same thing that they were doing. So why do we really care about the body type nonsense? The main reason that I care is because it shows something very problematic. Like all of these games, right? Like all of these corporations that are supposed to be competing with each other. And part of competition involves creativity. And the reason for competition is basically like them fighting with each other to provide the product for us. Right? Like they should be struggling with each other, competing with each other so that we get a better product. Right? Like the idea is that we have limited amount of funds and they should be fighting with themselves so that they can take our money. But what ends up happening is stagnation. Like we notice that there is no more creativity. Literally everyone is doing the same shit over and over and over again. And this is the actual problem. It's not the body type. Like, the body type is a symptom of the problem. But when you have, like, a Wolverine game, chat, a Wolverine fucking game, when you go around and you pick up medkits and you're creating smoke bombs and it plays similar to Batman Arkham Asylum, that's the problem that I'm talking about. Why would you do that in a Wolverine game? And I'm pretty sure, like, they will have, like, some cope. It's like, oh, well, in the story, maybe he lost his powers or some shit. Why would I want to play with a Wolverine that's castrated? Either I play as Wolverine, and he plays as Wolverine, or you make a different game. Make me play as Deadpool or something. Why would you insist in making, an iconic character that is renowned for having the best healing factor in the Marvel Universe, and you're castrating it? Either that or you don't understand the lore. I don't care. Like, if you have, like, any type of story where he just lost his power, that's cool. That's cool. The reality is they want another Batman Arkham Asylum game. And all the games have to be now like the Assassin's Creed games. Literally everyone that's coming out. And it's pretty much the same, right? Like you have an open world with very little activities to do, but you're moving around the open world and you're going from point A to point B in order to start the story or whatever. And you have a crafting system, you got a leveling system, you have like some pseudo-stealth mechanic. And you have like a level up system as well, so that it forces you to grind. And of course, like some basic bitch inventory system, which encourages you to get loot boxes and stuff. And all the fucking games are like that, chat. All the fucking games, right? And it goes back to the body type thing. Like, what is the likelihood that all these companies that are supposedly, competing with each other, all of them just decided one day, they got together and they say, you know what, we're going to use body types from now on instead of saying man and woman. Like, the chances of that happening are slim to none. The reality is that they are outsourcing their stories to third parties. And there are these individuals, I know that Sweet Baby is popular now and a lot of people are talking about it, but it's not just Sweet Baby. Like there are a couple of companies that are proofreading the story. Right? So when you have, like, for example, GTA Remake or Resident Evil Remake, you have these companies that are going through the story and they are catering to the people on Twitter. And the problem with the people on Twitter is that they have a very fringe and niche view of what is acceptable. Like the Chinese Communist Party is probably more open-minded than the people on Twitter. I would say, no, unironically, I would say that Benito Mussolini is what was more open-minded than the people on Twitter right now with what was acceptable in Italian art. These people have very fringe tastes, and because they have very fringe tastes, you are not allowed to have much creativity. So when they are remaking an old game that was a hit, and it managed to be popular not just in the United States but all around the world, a game like GTA or Resident Evil, they think that it's appropriate to cut things from it, to remove things from it, because they don't want the people on Twitter to be upset. And I think that is the essence, right? Of what's happening here, because all of these companies, they're not making games for us anymore. They're making games for the people on Twitter. And every now and then you see an exception. This is why they absolutely despise it. Because you have a game like The Coffin of Andy and Lele, which manages to make around $2 million while costing only $10,000 or so to make. I assume, by the way, that it costs this much. It probably costs even less than that. But they despise it because it jeopardizes the job of the proofreaders, the job of the ones that make a lot of money just by looking at a story and removing stuff from it that they consider offensive. And by the way, like, you can't be one of those people. Like, you can't be a proofreader. Because to be honest, I could be one as well. Like, anyone can do it, right? Like, if you know about woke ideology and you know about woke issues, you can be a proofreader very easily. It's such a simple job, and it pays so fucking well, chat. You do not believe how well it pays. But you're not going to be able to do it because it's based on nepotism. Like, even if you have the correct skin color to be considered, they're not going to hire you because you do not have the connections. So it's a very fringe group of people, kind of like the mafia, you know, where you pay for protection. And they come up there and they're like, okay, so you don't want people on Twitter to harass you? All right, give us cash. And then they look at your game and they start cutting stuff from it. They start editing stuff from it. They're like, okay, you're going to race swap this character. You're going to gender swap this character. You're going to use body type A and B. You're going to add vitiligo in the character customization, right? And then you have like the freedom to release your game. Otherwise, you risk upsetting the people on Twitter and the investors don't like it. So that's why you see body types everywhere now. Let me know what you guys think though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.